Welcome back. With record unemployment, a pandemic, and a recession, many people are realizing the importance of an emergency fund. Certified financial planner Tony Drake from Drake & Associates joining us virtually this morning with tips to start saving and some options for your money. Morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Well, if I had $1 for every time we heard emergency fund last year, we'd probably be rich by now. It was a rude awakening for a lot of people who realized they should have had one when they didn't. And for those who did have one, it wasn't enough. So what is it?
You know, an emergency fund is basically some money that's easily accessible, set aside for things like 2020 and maybe the beginning of 2021 here. Generally, we say 3 to 6 months. To your point, we found out last year that might not have been enough, but you want to have that money set aside. It was a tough year, record unemployment. About 14% of people said they completely wiped out their emergency fund. So really important to get that built back up.
Yeah. So if you did wipe out your emergency fund, or maybe you didn't have one, or you had to tap into it, how do you start one? How do you add to it? Is it as simple as just setting aside money?
It is pretty simple, but you really want to start with the budget, right? We need to know what's going out and what's coming in. Most of us think, boy, there is no extra money. There's no way I could set money aside. But if you sit down, look at the basics, what are my required costs each month? What are the costs that I'm spending that I want to spend on entertainment, things like that, but I could cut out if need be. And most of us tend to find an area that we're spending a lot more than we thought. You want to start with that budget, though. If you don't know where to start, I have a great worksheet at my website, wealthwisconsin.com.
So what do you think in starting a fund? What is it, like $25 or maybe $100? How do you gauge that?
You know, really the key to it, what data shows us is that automating your savings makes a big difference. So whether you start with $10, $20, if you can get it automatically coming out of your paycheck, if that's not an option, you can have it come automatically out of your checking account when your check is deposited. People that do that automated savings see much better savings rate over time. It's kind of gone. You don't think about it. Your budget adjusts to it. And that's really the way to be successful with savings long term.
Okay, an emergency fund is one thing, but what else can we do to save for the future?
Well, once you build back up that emergency fund, you really want to knock out that high interest credit card debt and make sure your savings is on track. A lot of Americans stopped putting money into their retirement accounts last year. You really want to take a look at that. Look at the taxability of different accounts. Many of us don't need the tax deduction now, so a Roth 401k or a Roth IRA is a great way. That grows, let's say it together, income tax-free. That just has a nice ring to it, right?
That's right. Yeah, and you can see the saving tips right there on your screen. We are unfortunately out of time, but we'll be sure to put all of your tips on our website, cbs58.com. Tony, as always, it's a pleasure chatting with you.
Great to be here.